The Steelers have long since invested in their offensive line, and it appears early in the 2014 season that investment wouldn't really pay off so much. At the midway point, though, particularly after a Week 8 win over the Indianapolis Colts, that investment is paying off big time. With Steelers Film Room and Behind the Steel Curtain, I'm Neil Coulomb. We're going to break down the Steelers' pass protection in particular here in Film Room, pointing out just how far this unit has come, especially considering that game against the Colts was played without right tackle Marcus Gilbert. The interior of the offensive line, Ramon Foster, Maurkice Pouncey, and David DeCastro had particularly big games, but it's definitely worth noting the Steelers' edge defenders, Mike Adams and Kelvin Beachum, also played very well. They're going to be key going into Week 9 against a pass rush heavy Baltimore Ravens team. If they can play like this as they did against the Colts against the Ravens, the Steelers could pull off the win. Let's break down the first play here on Steelers Film Room. One of the biggest issues this offensive line has had over the last 2 or 3 seasons has been the identification along the defensive line of what their intentions are. When defensive lines stunt and twist and when they bring pressure from their front seven, the offensive line has not been quick enough to recognize it and not been fluid enough to pick it up. This play is a great example of that, and the Colts are trying to pressure the Steelers early and to see what their offensive line can do. This play, with 10:09 left in the first quarter, you can see Mike Adams and David DeCastro, the Steelers' right tackle and right guard, they're going to be challenged with a tackle end stunt, and this is early in the game. And it's a big part of the Colts defense, and it's something they tried to do throughout the game. But watch as the play is developing, watch Adams and DeCastro. Neither of them flinch when the stunt is executed. Both of them hold their ground, they stay on their feet, they stay balanced, and the Colts get a flat 0 on this play as far as where their pass rush is going. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger has plenty of time to deliver a strike down the field for a 19-yard gain to wide receiver Martavis Bryant. Just a great example of a cohesive offensive line playing together, and when you get play like that, you're going to have a quarterback who throws for over 500 yards. Great pass protection begets great possibilities. The Steelers showed this throughout the game, but this is a great example of it as well. If the play that we're going to look at here with 11:36 left in the second quarter, the Colts are going to rush 4 guys at Roethlisberger, and Roethlisberger is going to take a 7-step drop. He's going to get all the way back probably as far as a quarterback should be, which really says, I trust my offensive line enough that I can execute a deep throw here and not face any pressure. And that's exactly what happens on this play. As you can see, Roethlisberger gets back. He has plenty of room to set his feet and to drive into the throw. That drives the ball down the field. Making a throw like this, the deep out, requires arm strength, but that arm strength is generated from the passer's legs. If the passer doesn't have the room in which to step and drive the ball down the field, he's not going to be able to make a throw as accurate as this. He puts it right on the money to Antonio Brown. This is a 14-yard gain, and that ball probably traveled 30 yards in the air. There's no way he can just flick his wrists and throw it like this down the field. It's an excellent job by the offensive line. Everybody held tight. Everybody contained where they were supposed to, and the Steelers picked up 14 yards in what looked like a relatively easy play. Great pass protection isn't achieved just by the offensive line either. The running backs have to get involved as well, and that's exactly what Le'Veon Bell did in this game. But first off, we're going to take a look at this play here. 14:29 left in the third quarter, and the Steelers are in a 2 tight end set. We're going to take a look at left tackle Kelvin Beachum and the right tackle Mike Adams again. The Colts are going to show right away that they're bringing a safety blitz off the right side. With Miller and Matt Spaeth staying in on that side and the 2 receivers off to the left, Le'Veon Bell has to be able to identify right away the help that Beachum and Adams are going to need and figure out where exactly he's supposed to go. He sees that there's some pressure that's going to be coming off of Beachum's side, and watch, he's going to step up and lay his shoulder right into that outside rusher. That freezes him and doesn't give him any movement to the outside, and that buys Roethlisberger enough time to be able to sit back and survey the field and make the throw that he needs to. Watch, right as he's about to throw the ball, he's got plenty of room in front of him to drive the ball down the field because his protection was outstanding. Bell contributed to that as well as Beachum and Adams, and the Steelers really had a shot at a big play on this, and it was a rare miss by Roethlisberger down the field to Antonio Brown. You didn't see that often in this game, and a big part of that was because of protection like this. Simply put, this was probably the best pass protection the Steelers' offensive line has shown in a game in the last 3 years. They've come a long way, and the high draft picks that they've invested in it, as well as the money invested into offensive line coach Mike Munchak, are really starting to pay off. This is about what we figured would happen with this Steelers offense. Right about the midpoint of the season, they were going to start to hit their stride. It's a dangerous team. There's not going to be a whole lot that really want to play the Steelers right now, but if there's anyone that do, it's the Baltimore Ravens, their Week 9 opponent. The Ravens are one of the best pass rushing teams in the NFL, and they will no doubt give the Steelers more of a challenge than the Colts did in this game. But if the Steelers have the same level of continuity and fluidity that they had in this game, whether that's with Marcus Gilbert at right tackle or Mike Adams, they're going to be able to make an impact. This is because the Steelers know they have a lot of athleticism in their skill position players, and they can get the ball downfield as well as play a shorter game. Look for the Steelers to be able to open things up in this game, considering the Ravens will be without cornerback Jimmy Smith. And a big part of the Ravens' game plan is going to be getting pressure on Ben Roethlisberger. They'll have to do more than the Colts did in this game, otherwise the result could be very similar. Don't expect that, though, just because of the pride the Ravens have and the ability that they have in their front seven. This is going to be a great game. You can expect it to go down to the wire at Heinz Field in another classic Steelers-Ravens game. With Steelers Film Room, I'm Neil Coulon.